The first 100 days in office have become a critical yardstick in measuring a new president's prospects for overall success. And President Trump has hit the ground running by any measure with a flurry of executive orders and the promise of more to come. Challenges are many, expectations are high. A panel of Wilson experts gathered to provide analysis of the early days of the Trump presidency with an eye on what lies ahead. Their discussion provides the focus for this edition of Rewind.
We have an incredible panel up here, and I feel like I could spend an hour and a half talking to any one of these guys about what Donald Trump is going to do in their part of the world that they're an expert on, and also what that part of the world is thinking about Donald Trump.
This administration is determined to create a new frame of reference, both for its allies in this region and for its adversaries. I'm not arguing that this executive order is going to force any American of the Muslim faith to somehow become radicalized. But you talk to anybody associated in the Bureau or even the agency, they will argue that without this community, we are more vulnerable. So the notion that we are going to, quote, eradicate ISIS from the face of the earth, in my judgment, is hyping the threat. So we have to find the balance between taking this really seriously and not scaring ourselves half to death.
We've talked about the wall, we've talked about NAFTA, but focusing on the national security implications for the United States of an uncooperative Mexico is much more important. The United States is unique, I think, in world history as a great power in that it has two land borders, both of which are with friends. Look at Russia, look at China, surrounded by enemies on all sides. The United States is blessed. And now I think we're putting one of those relationships at risk.
What Secretary of State Designate Tillerson said in his confirmation hearing was that we should deny China access to the islands that it built out, and that the islands it built were illegally constructed. Technically, it's wrong that their build-outs were illegal. They were escalatory, they were worrisome, they were a whole bunch of things we have to pay attention to, but not technically illegal. Blocking access would be an act of war. To block ships, you need a military blockade, which is an act of war, and there's only one way to keep China's airplanes from landing on those runways, and that's an act of war.
I don't think that the candidate Trump, President-elect Trump, and President Trump has been wrong to tread very carefully with Moscow and suggest we would like to engage productively. So the most important thing, maybe not in the first 100 days, but the most important thing the new U.S. government can do is demonstrate Americans have figured out how to solve some problems. It's been more or less, I would argue, since the Marshall Plan that we really persuaded the part of the world I deal with, Europeans, that we can solve problems. Right now, most Europeans are convinced that we can't.
For more on this and related topics, visit wilsoncenter.org. Click the Research tab to find a variety of regions, countries, topics, and issues.